Okay, so I have not mentioned Angela and Topaz. They're in their 40s, and they are one of Sheriff Mitch's secret task forces on any case so that's going on right now. But the main two right now are the ones they call the ruiners. They love calling things the, or something along that line. And then they have one that they're not really sure what to call just yet, but it's a one of the women, her name is Els. She goes by Els. She's a woman of a certain age. She realized she was on a different case called the Ruiners, and she started noticing on the new beach, on the new area that was opened up of this county, Victorson County. They opened the beach side. They have all these really fine restaurants. They have also a pier that has one for average person, but then they have the expensive restaurants and expensive stores, souvenir shops and so forth, grocery stores. It's all family owned and operated kind of things. They pride themselves on that in the whole county, that nothing is a chain store or chain restaurant, anything. No, nothing is chain. It's all family owned and operated. Very wealthy county. Okay. And there's a second case with the people that they started noticing, Elsa noticed, and people started noticing that she's one of the investigators, that some people at these stores, these expensive stores too, they are dressed in handmade clothing. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. If you're a good seamstress and you can do a good job, well, yeah. But what they noticed was that it was these patterns that she had done, just like I have. She's around my age. Knew how to sew from patterns and such was what we did. I don't even know if they still make patterns. I would imagine they do. But these were old patterns. These were old styles. And she thought this was very odd, so she told Jim, who has this enforcement team that he trains and so on and so forth, and basically become a case. But now they're not sure what to call it. I had thought about it last night, but anyway. Okay, back to this. I was thinking about it last night. They have, I've said this before, they have this in the county, anything. They love to, different people, whomever, powers that be and just regular people, they love to come up with stuff like, it's kind of like a game for them. And it makes them seem a little bit naive that they'll call it the this, like I was saying, the this or the that. Or whatever, however they choose to say it, like the Ruiners, like I was saying. But this one, I had to think about it. It was, and like I said, it makes them sound a little naive. They call it Operation Strange Clothing. They just get a kick out of it. I don't know. And like some of them, they were really, really well advanced in high tech. Before it was cool. It was back in the day. I know myself, in my first computer in 1982, people like me, especially around 1990, they would call us geek. They call us geeks, but the geek was practically a dirty four-letter word, and they just thought we were really odd people that had computers and had, we called them non-modems. Some people these days wouldn't even know what is a modem. But, yeah, we were people that were online. We were like there was stuff in the 80s too, but nothing really like what hit around 1990. Seriously, I think 1990 was a boom, and started the boom. And I was one of them. I actually did the thing of linking my computers to somebody else's back in the day using, what was it, Telnet, and what was the name? All these years I had to remember the name of the program, and now I can't. Procom. I think I had Procom 1 and Procom 2. And we were people who, we actually would, knew how to, like if we got a virus on our computer, or somebody, whatever I was. When I got in it and got rid of them. I did that up until like 2 or 3 years ago. Anytime I would get anything like that. And then that was enough, I guess. But anyway, why did I get off on that? But yeah, you know, back then we called things, you know, the same kind of way. Anyway, get back to this topic. Okay, now I looked on my notes a little bit. So what it was these, like I said, these strangely dressed people. Then they had a case against, you know, on it, because there were other things, other reasons why Adam's at the door. he's always comes out. Yesterday was the first time in a long time that he did not come out. He's just grinning at me and laughing and mimicking me talking. Crazy man. See, I get distracted by him quite often, every day, like I said. Anyway, this is probably like a video fail here. Anyway, okay, look at my notes. This was the notes I wrote actually November 9th. Today is December 26th, 2025. Both of them, 2025. It still says it's 84 degrees here in the suburb of Dallas. Yeah, the day after Christmas. Okay, it's 5:16 p.m. Anyway, let's see. Where was I? Reading my notes here. Okay, I wrote in parentheses on my notes, Special Operations Division or Undercover Operation. I don't know. Sometimes I can't read it. Because when I'm writing my notes, man, I'm just flying. My hand's fine. Anyway, Sheriff Mitch, just like Jim, have a clue about what they're facing here. They have an idea about what all this is, but they have no proof. And they really do not have any way of knowing. Okay? It's been something that every once in a while something will pop up, and it goes to, what do they call it, dead file or something like that. Because all the different types of law enforcement, security people, nobody really can, there's not enough clues. There's not enough to tell them what is going on. But they have an idea. And when Jim has this training, nobody knows. Okay? He has this training, you know, law enforcement. He's been training them for decades. His own business. It's well known. People want it, but they're in his own backyard cannot figure out what this is because there's not enough information, and he doesn't think anything bad about any of them because there's not enough information. And that's one thing they learn. Anyway, but they still have a clue. They still have an idea. You know, like I said, Sheriff Mitch, Jim, other people like them. But it's not enough, like I said, not enough evidence, ideas, all that. So they're keeping it quiet until they have more. That was in November. Now there's a woman named Wren, and she owns a restaurant. I don't want to go into too much detail about her, but basically she has a new restaurant on Beachside, expensive. Her sister opened up one just a couple months ago, and her own restaurant too. These are expensive food. That's the expensive part of the beach, the new beach side. There's a part for people who are just your average person also, and they're having a lot of trouble out there. I don't want to go into too great details, but they do have more law enforcement and such out there, and they've seen these strangely dressed people too. Wren was helping Wren, W-R-E-N. She was running her own business with her husband. And they'd only opened, you know, 2.5 years ago, because the whole area is rather new, and just opened. And so she was also helping her sister with so much trouble going on. It was a lot. Her sister does not have a husband, so her sister was running it by herself. And they're both in their late 40s. But it was just so much that Wren decided she needed a vacation the day after Christmas, today. Okay, the same day, today. She went, let me see. Let me see. I'm reading my notes here. She decided to take just a daycation. If she decided to, she found some hotel in some area she wanted to stay in, she'd do that. She was going to go north of here to see what's out there. You know, just maybe just the countryside. She was happy to be, she needed some me time. And her husband, he's really supportive of her. He said, great, go. You know, she left early that morning. Well, she decided she was going to go on the 26th. But actually, she left the 27th. No, she left the 26th. Today. Today. Seriously, honestly. I have had, when I was, year before, it seemed like the days were, like everything was going so slow. This year has felt like everything went so fast. And now, all of a sudden, today, very slow. It seems like I've had 2 days instead of one. December 26th. Anyway. So forgive me if I get confused. It's been weird. I have never experienced this. You know how sometimes you might think, what day of the week is it? you know, especially around the holidays or vacation days. But this is weird. It felt like 2 days in one. Get back to this. So she took the vacation. She's driving out in the country, you know, 1-lane roads, 1 lane on each side, no shoulder, no median, lots of woods, just trees for miles and miles. And she ran across a restaurant and cafe, strangely dressed people there too, and left. And she kept driving. She calculated how much time, you know, to get back home, make sure she didn't go past it. You know, in the day, she wanted to be in the daylight, so she did that. She got back home, but when she turned, you know, to get back home before it was real dark, she didn't want to be out there in the dark, and a place she didn't know, and not well lit either. But when she went to turn around, the turnaround was a driveway that was on like a gravel road on the left-hand side of the road. So she got over there, turned around, she took her time. Because once she got there, she realized it was scary. It had to be the front entrance to a compound. She didn't know what kind of compound. I've seen them myself just recently. Scary. And, yeah, I'm Texan. Anyway, you know, don't mess with them. So, anyway, she took her time not to get hit on the road. It was, you know, one of those kinds of roads where speed limit, really? They have them. Who minds them? But some of the speed limits were, the ones I know, the speed limit was 75. No shoulder, no median, 1 lane going each direction. Yeah, scary. So she got the heck out of Dodge, but she did not want to be pulled over out there. She did not want to have an accident, so she drove the speed limit, but she got out of there. And she called her husband, told him all the stuff and everything. And when she got to the restaurant, she told him more, and they decided to call the police. Police came and picked her up. And then, who was it that picked her up? Took her to a safe house, Angela and Topaz. Okay, they weren't expecting that. They were and they weren't. They said, they told them be prepared in case something happened, that they might have to take people to, safe houses, to different people. It could be. They just don't know. They don't know what's going on for certain. And they've already had to do one family a few years ago. It was twins and one of their sisters, their other sister. And they're still in the safe house. And other people, various people, really wealthy county, they have money they have safe house neighborhoods that even have their own grocery store, law enforcement. People don't just come and go, you know, they live there. The law enforcement and all this. So, of course, there's more detail to all of that, and I just made a video about it, but for a different channel. So, different storylines, kind of different storylines. But anyway, I made a different video. Oh, I was up, you know, I'm probably the reason why today has felt like such a long day is I did not sleep last night. I slept off and on during the day, But last night, I was up until probably 8:30 this morning. And then I fell asleep during the day, like I said. And the times that I've been awake, yeah, like I woke up a while ago, and it was 4 o'clock. Right now it's 5:26. It was right before 4 o'clock, I guess. Or maybe it was in the 3 o'clock. And I was like, whoa. You know? But I didn't sleep last night. And one of the things I was doing was putting all the right videos on the right channel that I had for a storyline, because this is fiction and it's a story. But they also would have characters. I've been doing this for years. Okay, and like any kind of series, and it's a series, very long one, for years. Like I said, my original characters are decades. Okay, and people and it's a whole county, Victorson County, Texas. It's all fictional. And read the disclaimers in the description box below this video on YouTube. But they, you know, some of them will be working on different cases, because in the county, Jim's enforcement, they call it the enforcement, they train people for, you know, people who are not going to be the ones who are out with, you know, they are going to be arresting anybody. They're not going to be carrying, you know, no, they will know self-defense. That they'll know, because Jim's enforcement, they give free classes for anybody who wants them in their county that lives there, and they just they don't have to pay for them. Like I said, free. They can pay for them. Some do, because some use it for a different way of socializing, and they've socialized. They've taken classes because they're age-appropriate classes, and they've taken them with the same people. You know, many times it's the same people. Some of us say, like I said, you know, self-defense kind of classes. But some of it's also how to do investigations. But like I said, these are not going to be the ones that are investigators in that sense, you know, that are licensed. These are ones who are going to know how to do things like what to look for online. Okay, that kind of thing. Okay, but, you know, they know what to look for online. Or, as it is, Els, a woman named Els, you know, Elsbeth, but I like that name. But she goes by Els, E-L-Z. She's a woman of a certain age, and her friend Joyce joined. You know, she called Joyce and had her join it after talking to Jim, and they were going to be the ones that were going to lead others, you know, younger ones. They were going to be the leads, and the younger ones will be reporting to them, and they were the ones basically going to be getting them all together. And Elsa's adopted son, he's an adult, 30 to 40. Well, he owns his own investigation team, or he's a member of one of the two. And they're going to be helping out. They're actually licensed. And different things like this. They will be the ones to organize it, and people report to them. And then they just, you know, there's a ladder. People report to this person, and that person, they report to that person. And when it gets down to it, they report it, you know, Els and Joyce report it to Jim. And then Jim decides, with the Sheriff Mitch, or the other law enforcement, like Ross, different people, they decide what they're going to do about it, okay? And so on and so forth. There's a chain of command, but not military. And I never liked that when I worked in, you know, I'm from Texas. In the places I've worked, I've lived in other states since I was an adult, but mainly just Texas. And I mean, I've lived in other states, but still, mainly Texas. And the people, when you go to work and they say chain of command, I never liked that. I said, I never signed up for the military. So, couldn't stand the chain of command. And anyway, but that's how it is with them. And they know the limits. They know what they can't step over, what lines, what are boundaries. And then they have their regular law enforcement, and so on and so forth. And sheriff's department employees, this, that, and the other. But a lot of the people, they're really wealthy county. They're really wealthy people. And they want to be productive members of society. So whatever is the they take classes in whatever that interests them, and some of these are interested in law enforcement, true crime kind of thing. You know, they get online and they become a presence online. Well, then whenever they have a case come up, they don't tell people that. They don't, online as it is, the contracts are to social media platforms for basically the county, and by contract they have to live there now, and they can't show their faces, and they can't their faces are blurred out and their voices are changed by them, you know, not the people, but by the media platform powers that be. And it's automatic, it's AI driven, whatever. Okay, whatever's the terminology today. I had my first computer in 1982. Yeah, the terminology's changed quite a bit over time, and how things work quite a bit. But anyway, so they can't give out their names, on and on and on. So they have a presence, so people would trust them, but they don't tell them that they're also in, you know, that kind of investigation, you know, into the investigative teams. They don't tell people that, of course. Why would they? You know, they're undercover kind of thing. So anyway, this is just another, and this is a married couple. They don't have their, you know, her sister is the one that would be worried. Her name is Gwen, and she just opened that restaurant. Now she's going to be worried, so more than likely, yeah, I'll have them tell her. I have too much fun with this, honestly. I've been doing these, like I said, for many years now. I don't even know how long, the more recent ones. And sometimes I make myself laugh, I guess, you know, when I say things like that. I'll make sure they tell one another. This is fictional, okay? It's a whole fictional story. But some of it's processed, and just most of it, a lot of it is, really. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And of course, all of it, every bit of it's copyrighted to me. I think that even says it in my description, which, don't believe my writing. I have gone in there and just added stuff every once in a while, so it probably doesn't flow right. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. It's 5:35, and it'll be getting dark really fast all of a sudden. So I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.